As you may be able to tell, I'm standing behind the pulpit at the Shelbina United Methodist Church. And this last week, the IRS made a filing in federal court about what can happen behind a pulpit. There was a federal filing by the IRS that the proper interpretation of the Johnson Amendment is that a pastor can tell a congregation who to vote for as long as it's happening during worship, because it will be seen as sort of a family meeting. A little background. The Johnson Amendment comes out of the middle part of the 20th century. Johnson, who goes on to become President Johnson, put it together. And what it said was, if a pastor tells people who to vote for from the pulpit, they will risk their nonprofit status. And the risk there is if you cease to be a nonprofit, then you have to pay property taxes. And property taxes on big churches would be expensive. And so for decades now, the standard has been that a pastor can talk about topics, but cannot talk about who to vote for. Now, assuming that this is what holds, then going forward, it would be perfectly legal for me to tell you who to vote for standing here in the pulpit. It would also be perfectly legal for me to put a pile of the Christmas Eve candles on the altar to my left and throw a match on them and create a huge bonfire, right? Just because something is legal doesn't mean it's not horribly destructive. And I think it would be horribly destructive for pastors to start talking about this is who you should vote for. I say that not because we shouldn't talk about politics in the church. I say that because the church has a politics. And the politics of the church is, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's the Lord's Prayer. We pray for thy kingdom. A kingdom is a politics. It's a politics of the king being in charge. And thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so I'm not going to tell people who to vote for. I think it would be destructive. And instead, what I will do is the same thing I have been doing for, 20 years now. Anyone who would like to follow Jesus is welcome to be at one of the churches I serve. You're welcome to bring your questions, and to be here, just come, bring a question, bring a desire to want to know more about Jesus, and just rest assured that if you want to talk about politics, that's the politics we're going to talk about. What does Jesus want? What does Jesus care for? What does it look for? His will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thank you for your time. I hope you find a place to worship this Sunday and have a wonderful weekend.